Hello, my name is Tristan Gold, and welcome to A Moment of Your Time. Joining me today is the composer of thousands of pieces of non-copyrighted music whose work is recognizable by anyone who's been on YouTube within the last 10 years, Kevin MacLeod. Kevin, thank you for joining us today.
Oh, thanks for having me on.
No problem, yeah. So the first thing I want to talk about is when looking through your YouTube channel, something that caught my attention almost immediately was your descriptions, which always seem to capture like a feeling of the music while not being
Right.
directly connected. I was wondering if you could talk me through like your thought process about those.
Yeah, those can take longer than writing the actual piece of music. And yeah, sometimes I'll rewrite them two or three times, and sometimes I'll just get on a roll and be able to, crank out a bunch of them in a day. But I think they're really, really important because when you actually listen to a piece of music, let's say you're looking for a piece of music. Once you listen to like five or six pieces, your brain just shuts down and it's like, I cannot take in any more information. But you can read summaries for like a half an hour and go, oh yes, this captures what I'm looking for in my doc scene or whatever. And yeah, I think that's a really important part of the music,
Right, gotcha.
weirdly enough.
Yeah, so it's basically so people can kind of sift through probably on your website and Comptet.com better, like get the
Yeah,
chance to like find things. Okay, nice.
right. Right.
Yeah. So in past interviews, you said that what drives you is quote hatred and failure in terms of seeing music you can do better. I was curious if you could
Yeah.
explain this further.
Um, sure. It's like I know I don't go like let's say I'm listening to popular music and I'm like, "Oh, wow, that's really good." I I can't do that better. And so I don't go and make popular music because what they do is really good. But when I see a piece of music where I'm like, "Ah, I could do that better." Now I get angry and that's when things happen.
Right. Wow.
And yeah, you just go after things that you hate and you'll never run out of things.
Gotcha.
And that's been proven, I believe.
Is there a specific place that you usually find like music that you quote unquote hate, or is there just like any like in the wild you just kind of find these
Yeah,
things?
it could be anywhere. It could be a Netflix series. It could be a, YouTube channel from an 8-year-old. And, I feel a little bit bad hating on an 8-year-old YouTuber's music, but I mean, they could have picked mine. So, or
Nice.
if in case where it's like, oh, why didn't they pick my music? And then I'm like, oh, I've never done music like that. Well, now I have a reason to do music like that.
Gotcha. Yeah. So that kind of goes into the idea of the whole quote unquote like finding vacuums in music, which you've mentioned
Yeah.
previously before. Is there any kind of genres or types of music that you found vacuums in like right now that you're looking towards make possibly filling?
Um, there's not a lot of Chinese pop going around.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And sort of looking into that. Island music, I've been very disappointed in island music, sort of Caribbean or Polynesian, Hawaiian, that kind of stuff. So I might be going into those for a bit. Yeah.
Nice. And I heard that you recently bought, was it a hand drum? Was it something like that?
No. Oh,
Okay,
I
gotcha.
bought I hear what you're saying. Uh steel drum virtual instruments.
Gotcha. There we go.
Not actual steel drums, but yep. I bought the two big ones on the market and they're both really good, turns
Nice.
out. So, yeah.
Well, so next up we have in one interview back in 2010, when somebody
Oof.
asked you to compose a piece of music for them on the spot, your response was, "What does this need to convey?" Do you start on a piece by narrowing down the feeling first or the genre?
The well, if it needs to convey a genre, then that's what it needs to convey. It's
Right.
like if this needs to be 80s rap, we can we'll start there and then go, all right, what level of joy is going on here? What level of danger is going on here? Um yeah, sometimes people will expect one genre and I'm like, no, 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 no. We can do this. We can do this way cooler with just a piano. And, we'll forget the whole big orchestral string section because the feeling is the thing that matters. until it isn't.
Right, yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So I was curious what you can tell me about Harold the Puppet, because he's made a couple of appearances on videos that you've
Here.
created.
Oh yeah, hang on. I got.
Oh, there he is.
Yeah, here we got Harold the puppet. Harold was back in my puppet making days. I don't know, 10 years ago. I did not make Harold. Harold was made for me at the was it FAO Schwartz or something like that. Uh, he's named after Herald Square, a subway stop in New York City. My other puppet is named Hoyt Skirmerhorn, which is also named after another subway stop in New York City. Lots of, because when you live in New York, it's all about the
Of
subways.
course, yeah.
They invade all of your life. I like puppets. I've always liked puppets. They have very simple faces that I can read easily.
Yeah, exactly.
Just handy.
Do you ever think about maybe making your own like kind of show with them or something like that, or is it just like a general
Yeah.
interest?
No, I did. I was working with a writer. I got I think I have 12. I have four full episodes written and a 12 episode series. And then I started actually, filming and doing tests with them. And wow, it's hard.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I love them, but I'm never gonna be putting in the amount of effort that it takes to get good at filming puppets.
Gotcha. Oh, nice. And
Yeah.
actually, you spoke a little bit about New York and kind of the influence it's had on your puppets, but I know that since you've been living both there and also Wisconsin, I was curious, does either place have an influence on your music? Whether if you're living in New York, do you create one type of piece of work versus living in Wisconsin, or does the physical space
Uh
not really impact you that much?
Everything is pretty much online. I don't In New York you have a little better access, but I almost never went out. The thing that matters is like who you're living in and around.
Right.
When I was living in New York, I was living with a whole bunch of other composers, and there was always composing. And then, you just get on the treadmill and run and run and run. Here, it's like, who am I competing against?
Right.
Nothing really. So there's less, hmm, what do you call it? It's not ambition floating around here. The less, there's like less drive
Right. Yeah.
when you're outside of a big city.
And of course, a big thing when it comes to any kind of musician nowadays is YouTube copyright claims. And I'm curious, are you optimistic for the future of copyright ID claims, or does the overlapping nature of music make it too much of a minefield to create an effective system?
The computer's got to get way better. And honestly, we would just benefit by everybody chilling out and like just once your music becomes part of popular culture, let it go. You can make it, but you can't control it. You're making enough money. I don't know, I'm not saying that people should republish the Beatles catalog.
Of course, yeah.
Um, but the way that it's being prosecuted now is horrifying. But we're going to be coming into a time where most of our new music isn't going to be written by people, and that will be non-copyrighted by default because machines can't copyright things. So 10 years from now it's going to be looking a little more glorious, and copyright will become less and less useful. It'll become a relic of this time, I'm hoping.
Hopefully, yeah. And
So I'm just getting on that bandwagon early.
yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm curious, have you had more or less of an issue than you used to in terms of people falsely flagging like your videos? Because I know that you've had multiple interviews in the past where you've talked about how that's been
Yeah.
like such a constant problem.
Yeah. No, it has definitely gotten better. And I don't know if that's because people are using my music less. Um, and it's probably a combination of that. And also YouTube has gotten a lot better. They've got better whitelists, better methods of dealing with weirdos like me who are okay with their music being out there. So
Nice. Cool. So on your own show, Composerish, you mentioned the types of drinks and cocktails that you enjoy. I was curious, have you ever found inspiration within one of your songs through a specific kind of drink?
I can't say that I have. They're like completely unrelated to each other.
Gotcha.
Although it's a good thought. I'll have to think on that.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if there was any
Inspiration.
mixture of like business and pleasure going on there. Just curious.
Uh yeah, no, drinking and writing music does not function
That makes sense.
well. It's one or the other.
There we go. Cool. So I was curious, what's the strangest place that you think that your music has ended up in?
The strangest place that I've ever heard of was a bizarre thing. I think it was either Washington D.C. or Philadelphia city bus station that has a board that has information on it and schedules and all of that, and it had music by Kevin MacLeod on it. There was no music playing.
Hmm.
There was no speaker set up for the system. So I don't know what that was.
Gotcha.
Apparently in the presentation they did it and it made it in, or maybe there's some other ones where there were speakers and had my music playing, but it's a silent info board. I think that qualifies as strangest.
Yeah, definitely. Kind of are credited for the ambiance at least.
Yeah, just oh yeah, it's like hanging out at a bus platform.
Nice. So you said previously
Yeah.
that you watch a lot of YouTube videos yourself. I was curious what kind of videos you usually gravitate towards.
Right now I'm watching a lot of Lego videos.
Oh, interesting.
I'm I'm watching a lot of chess videos, a lot of videos about the Tesla,
Nice, yeah. So I'm
space,
curious with the Lego idea,
space rockets.
is it like a building?
Hmm?
Is it like a specific kind of like speed builds or something?
Yeah.
Or oh, cool, nice.
Almost no, my music is on speed builds. Never watch them. No,
Gotcha.
it's all on reviews and like a little bit of like philosophy and building techniques.
Cool.
Yeah, I've got my favorite people, the people that I completely disagree with, the people that I almost always disagree with. I'm like,
Nice.
it's really interesting.
Cool. And then also a very interesting phrase that I've heard you say in a previous thing was I'd rather watch a sixth grade band play than the Chicago Symphony. And this is
Oh
you're
yeah.
referring to you're talking about the your love for a musician's energy rather than anything else. So I was curious if you could kind of like expand upon that because the energy seems like it's such an important thing to you.
Yeah, and like you can feel the intention behind the struggle of a sixth grade trombone player. There's it's just hard. And when you get to the point where you're a professional, like you can write out anything and hand it to a professional and they'll just play it down and beautifully and perfectly. And I'm like, that's not exactly what I want.
Yeah.
I I want the hard things to feel hard. I want the beautiful things to swell out of that. And when you start there's something about that sixth grade band aesthetic where they're all trying, they're all pointing in the same direction, and the skill levels are vastly different, even between the clarinet section. And it's the struggle. Love it. Love to hear it.
Yeah. This seems
I
to be kind
mean,
of like a common theme because you also talked about how you've made fake bands on Spotify and things like that where they have like
yeah,
fatal flaws in it.
yeah, yeah. That's because that's what I think is cool about the recordings, because you're never going to see these bands live.
Right.
So, but you can learn a little bit about their personalities by how they play. The guitarist who always comes in early and way too loud. It's like, okay, I met that guy.
Nice, yeah. And I'm curious with those kind of bands, has that helped with experimenting with like new sounds, like new ideas, or is it more just for like entertainment purposes?
It's almost everything I do is for entertainment purposes. Let's be
Gotcha.
fair.
Nice.
No, I think it's just really cool, and it's a fun way to explore well, yeah, I guess fun way to explore new stuff. Sure.
Cool. Yeah. And I was curious. You said that you left the computer programming industry when the tech bubble burst before you
Mhm.
kind of got really into the music side of things. Was
Yeah.
transitioning into music, did you have like any hesitations or anything that happened during that period?
Um, I it just happened. I didn't make any decisions. I had saved up enough money from working as a computer programmer to like, oh, this will last me like a couple years, and I didn't really try to do it. It just happened. I didn't have any plans. Sometimes I say that I did, but I'm looking back. I'm like, no, I had no idea what I was doing. Do I want to get heavier into graph paper? I don't know. Do I want to get heavier into music? I don't know.
Gotcha. And was this the beginning of Incompetech was like started right then, or did that come a little bit later?
No, it started before.
Oh, okay.
Incompetech started in 1997 as my own personal website when I was helping other people develop websites. I would put like all of my test stuff and test ideas, I'd build it on my site and then, sometimes get them brought over.
Gotcha. Nice. And there we go. That actually is all of the questions and all the time that we got for
Oh,
today. So
wow.
yeah, we made through quite quickly. So I was wondering if
Yeah.
you have anything that you wanted to talk about, any new projects, anything you wanted to be promoting.
Well, you mentioned it. My new podcast, Composer-ish. It's with myself, Brian Tio, and we're bringing another guy in, I believe, in a week or two. And it's not just about writing music, but it is about writing music. If you do video game design, or you care about this stuff, or you do short films, or you care about it, listen to what it's like being on the music side of projects, because we have all sorts of different clients and deal with them all sorts of different ways, and all sorts of new softwares and new techniques and ideas. Come on, check it out.
Nice.
Composer-ish, wherever fine podcasts are found.
Yeah. And then I heard that you also have a documentary coming out about your life.
Okay,
Yes. Is that I believe it's royalty free?
it may be.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
They started making that, I don't know, 8, 10 years ago. Um, when it comes out, it'll come out.
That
I
sounds good.
expected it to take 3 months.
Oh, okay. So it's a
So
long
I
time
really
coming.
can't comment on why or where it is or anything. I
Interesting.
just don't know.
Well, to give you an update, at least it's I believe it's slated for a 2021 release.
Oh, okay.
So
2021.
there
That's
you go. Hopefully, it's a little bit of info for you then.
that is quite a lot, and I'm sure my life will have changed a lot since the last time they talked to me, which was years ago now.
Definitely. Wow. Okay. Perfect. Well, thank you again.
Absolutely.